I grew up as a good girl with a bad girl lurking inside. So by the time I started to write, I really had a lot to get out. I could be fearless in my writing in a way that maybe I wasn't always in my life.
It was the first book I had read about wanting to grow boobs and the myths around how to get them and what to do.
Everything I learned about sex or crushes, I learned from Judy.
Let's all say
A new documentary on Amazon Prime tells the story of the writer whose trailblazing books changed the lives of millions of kids around the world. Judy Blume Forever traces her journey from young housewife to mother to best-selling author and the incredible relationship she developed with her fans along the way.
Davina Pardo and Leah Walchuk are producers and directors of the new film, and they join us this morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for having us.
Sure. When you first decided to do this project, was it just because you loved her, or did you see that there was a relevance all these years later?
I think it was both. You know, I had been a huge reader of Judy Blume's books as a kid, and then when my own kids started listening to and reading her books years later, I heard her voice for the very first time in an audiobook, actually, and it made me realize there's a story of a woman who created these books and these characters that had meant so much to me. And going back to the books, yes, they felt as relevant today as they did, back when I was reading them in the 80s.
I agree with that. And Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret has always been able to generate controversy throughout time. Even when I was in school, I remember it being somewhat controversial for kids to read it. And she's been such a huge free speech advocate against banning books. So what is their perspective now on where the culture is in terms of there's been obviously issues with banning books in other states outside Illinois?
I mean, book banning has sort of taken over the country, especially in Judy's home state of Florida. She jokes that they like to pretend Key West is not part of Florida, but Florida is sort of ground zero for banning books. And now it's not just Judy's books that are being banned. Books by authors who are queer, authors of color, books that are written about characters of color or characters who are queer are most likely the ones on the top of the banned books list. And those are the ones that kids most need to read and most need to have in their schools and libraries and their communities.
Yeah, and also often when some of these books get banned, it makes them more popular. Is this somewhat of a uniquely American concept, the idea of banning these books about sex? I mean, we don't necessarily, need to have 5-year-olds reading about puberty, but at some point, how has that concept evolved in this country?
Well, I think that books, when you say that books become more popular if they're banned, perhaps like among progressive parents and progressive communities, they're noticing the banned books list and readings that, realizing that their kids need to read them and are buying them for their kids. I don't know that that's happening in communities where your kids need them the most. And I think this is a particularly American phenomenon.
Yeah.
That we're trying to prevent kids from learning about their own bodies and talking about their own bodies.
It's interesting because I look at some of Judy Blume's books and I can see why they resonate so strongly particularly with young women, because these are the questions that they're having about their developing bodies or relationships. And it was interesting to me that I didn't know that she had pen pals, because I can't imagine how many people probably wrote into her asking her, encouraging her to write more books. And how did those relationships develop over time? Did she maintain those relationships with some of the readers that wrote into her?
Definitely. And I wish I had written to Judy. I wish I had thought to send a letter to Judy back when I was reading her books. But yes, she's had an extraordinary relationship with her readers really from the beginning, from the time Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret was published. And when we found out that there were some readers who she corresponded with over decades, we were blown away. And Judy was kind enough to introduce us to a couple of those readers, and we were able to include their stories in the film. But there was a period where she was getting thousands of letters a week. And, in some cases, she would send back a single letter. And in a few special cases, she really had long-term relationships with those letter writers. And to us, it just said so much about who she was as an author, what she meant to her readers, the relationship that they felt they had with her. And then at the same time, the relationship she had with them and what they meant to her.
Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was just curious, just in terms of convincing her to do these interviews, the documentary itself, because I know that she hasn't really, I didn't know a lot about her own life until I started reading about the documentary.
Well, that's all Davina's magic. I'll let Davina share her story.
I felt the same way that, growing up, I had been so connected to her books, the characters and the stories, but I didn't know anything about the women behind the books. And so I think, wanting to make this film came from a place of really wanting to get to know Judy and wanting to understand how she came to write this groundbreaking body of work, these 29 books that had such a huge ripple effect on so many generations of readers.
All right, well, Judy Blume Forever is streaming on Amazon Prime. And there's the information on your screen if you want to reach out. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much
for having us.